There are different kinds of dreams, subhanAllah, dreams, that we have. No, it's fine. That we have and the dreams about the Ma'asumeen, I dream a lot about them. Is there any message? Well, alhamdulillah, that's a karamah, isn't it? It's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have a dream of a Ma'asum. What it means exactly, I don't know. I'm not a dream interpreter, but take a sadaqah, inshallah. Okay. When holding an Ashura Awareness Week, Hussein Day, or rally, should we separate religion from culture? Or keep both together, i.e. only promote the religious aspect of Ashura minus the cultural rituals? Please advise. Well, I think first we must define what is religious and what is cultural. I can't give an answer. We would have to go look at each and every case separately and see whether it's something that the Ahl Bayt, which is connected directly to the Sunnah of the Ahl Bayt, or it's something that's completely a cultural product. For example, in some parts of the Muslim world, they have a wedding celebration, the night of Ashura, to commemorate a so-called supposed wedding between Qasim and the daughter of Hussein. This is cultural completely. There is no reflection in the Sunnah or in the Hadith tradition or in the established practice of the Maraja and the sources of emulation. That's an example, but I can't make a general what is cultural, what is religious, but I will share something with you that Tusi narrates in the Misbah. When Imam al-Baqir approaches Muhammad ibn Sinan on the day of Ashura, tells Muhammad ibn Sinan and the others, including Safwan, as to what they are to do on the day of Ashura, he says something interesting. He says, تُقِيمُ إِظْهَارُ الْجُزْعِ بِدَارِ. He says, bring up and demonstrate your mourning and tears in your home. And order those in your home to do so. Right? This is not cultural. This is a sunnah of Ahl Bayt. Now, how it's manifested and how it's demonstrated and how it's performed exactly, those can have cultural representations, various cultural manifestations and have different colors. But the philosophy of publicly idharu juz'a, and make your profound sadness something manifest. That is part of the sunnah of the Ahl Bayt, something that the Imam himself ordered companions to do so, and including not to work on that day, for example, the day of Ashura. That is not cultural. The Imam says you will find no barakah in any work you do on that day. That is not something that an alim in Iran invented. Right? Saying Atamallahu Juruna, that is not something an alim invented. Right? This is in the sunnah of the Ahl Bayt. And if you ever have a question, you should consult, inshallah, a scholar or a manager. They can, inshallah, advise you quick.
Son, there are a couple of things that, yes. Sorry, I think my question was related to one of the other questions that was asked. So I had the opportunity of participating in the Olympic series. The first time we went for awareness was how the but I think when we had the inspiration for our show this week, one of the things that inspired us was how it's commemorated in the Indian subcontinent. And one of the things that I found particularly unique about it is that it's not just that she has a perception, there's actually significant perception. We have to be honest. That's a difference. And should we culture? Absolutely not. And culture is what can help us communicate to other languages. But I think the question is which culture should we be using, right? I mean, it makes sense to have a perception and have all of your literature in the culture or Arabic, right? And I think what was really unique for me, initially I started administration culture in the last year, but I had the opportunity to spend a couple of years in Australia, and one of the things that happened is actually you realize that all of the people that come to Australia, millions and millions and millions, are not actually Muslim. There's a lot of Christians, there's a lot of Sunnis, a lot of different villages that actually come and they support these guys in the Muslim, right? They actually serve them and so on and so forth. And with the Arab group, it's the Iraqis, they actually do reenactments in place. And for example, in the Arab Asad time, they actually have they actually have a reenactment of the Quran. And they actually set it up. And they probably dress like the army at the time of Basra, and they set it on fire, and millions of people everywhere, so they actually reenact that, right? That's an expression of culture. The purpose is not to say that this is how we commemorate that, correct? But it's to make the people around them recognize the realities of culture and help them do it. So I guess the question is, that I'm looking at this new question is that what is culture? And I think what I remember about that, before they actually do the work, is actually allow whenever it gets to the it basically means by God, we will not forget this thing, right? And I think that's the message, right? It doesn't matter if we use culture as a method, but I think we need to value the effectiveness of the culture that we use in the context. And I believe there's an opportunity to
I'll give you a brief. I think you're right. We cannot discard culture totally. There's no human being who has no culture. We all have cultures, and it's not a bad thing. On the contrary, it's a good thing. But at times when the culture comes in the way of the Sharia, that's when we have a problem. But we all come from particular backgrounds, and we have our own culturally conditioned ways of weeping for Imam Hussein, of showing our grief. I share with you the Indo-Paki culture. We have the Zari room, for example. You will never find a Zari room if you go in the Arab or Iranian culture. In fact, the Iranians who bought over Bayview, they basically destroyed the Zari room. It's a meeting place now. You know Zari room, right? A place where they show all the shabis and alams, etc. So they're not because they are against it, but because it's not part of their culture. The way that the Arabs weave is very different from the way that the Iranians do their matter. And there's nothing wrong with it. And you have the tachia, you have the passion plays. I think what we should be concerned about is expressing the grief in a way which is culturally acceptable here, especially in the outside world. You go to Chicago, for example, they will go and hold a procession, which is great, but then in front of everybody in downtown Chicago, they will take off their shirts, the men I'm talking about. They take off their shirts and start beating themselves up. Now in Chicago, when you do that, I was there once and I asked the policeman, what do you make of this? He said, I don't know, but they sure are enjoying themselves. You know, it doesn't make any sense, with all due respect. Because the whole purpose of holding up the procession is what? Is to show the grief or to show to the outside world who is Imam Hussein. But you want to do it in a way which is going to attract them, not repel them, not to make a mockery out of it. Sure, in our country it was fine. In our masajid it is fine. But if you do it in public, I'll be very honest with you, I have a problem with this Ahlul Bayt channel in many ways. It is good, it's informative, but when it's on satellite dish, satellite people are watching it all over the world. And when non-Muslims see that all these Shias do is just beat themselves up and cry, who would want to belong to such a religion? We can do that in our own mosques. I don't have a problem with it. But if we do it in public, then we better be careful how we're going to do it. Otherwise, as the Prophet told Mu'adh, he says, Bashir wa la tunfir. Attract people, do not repel them.